Welcome back to Roundtable, I'm Nemo, and guys, Bojack Horseman Season 6 did not disappoint. And there's no debate that the show has not lost its touch over time. Though despite the stellar season itself, the most exciting part of it to me was the fact that Season 6 of Bojack had its own theme song. Now, Bojack Horseman's been known to switch up the theme song in the past. I mean, that iconic title sequence featuring the horse as he slides through different locations in his life before falling into a pool, we've all seen it 1,000 times, and the show is pretty good about switching up the locations he actually goes to fit in with what's happening that season. It was a nice touch. But for Season 6, bro, they went bougie, they went all out, they gave it a brand new theme song, all new locations, they even changed the sky, bro. But for anybody who's watching the show and hasn't seen it in a while, this theme song might be a little confusing. Not only that, but the theme song also has a bunch of hidden clues and different meanings to it that I feel like are worth analyzing. Every single thing in this theme song was put here for a reason, and I want to break that down and explain it to all of you. There's a lot to unpack here. So without further ado, here's our breakdown of the Bojack Season 6 theme song. Spoilers ahead for Season 6 and also the entire show. You know how this goes. So let's start at the beginning of the theme song. It's a very similar start as we pan into Bojack's luxury pad. Although this time things are different. The sky is not normal. In fact, it has this galaxy night pattern, a motif that's being used all season, mostly to represent alcohol. It's a direct reference to Sarah Lynn's death, which impacted Bojack arguably the most out of anything in the entire series, as she died in a planetarium staring at the stars, similar to what we see here. This galaxy motif appears throughout the entire season in different ways, so it's fitting that it's in the theme song. And for once, instead of going into Bojack's house to see what he's up to, the camera actually pushes past and we see a younger Bojack actually working on horsing around. This is in the peak of the show, as you can tell by his goofy sweater, and he's actually sitting in the chair where he gets his hair and makeup done, which is actually very important considering the events of Season 6, specifically everything that happened with the hairdresser on horsing around. Season 6 displayed the relationship, which you didn't know much about before, mostly how Bojack gave Sarah Lynn alcohol for the first time and blamed it on the hairdresser instead of taking the fall himself. It's a really shitty thing to do and something that he thinks about a lot. But regardless, starting him off in this chair is the perfect way to start off for this season and for the show especially. We then see him walking through set and Sarah Lynn sits at the table behind him. This further illustrates her importance in this season and honestly to the series as a whole. It's the biggest focus of Season 6 and arguably Bojack's biggest regret. We also see Herb Kazaz in his prime before the frame burns through and reveals Herb Kazaz on his deathbed. Again, we're seeing all of the things from Bojack's past that he typically regrets and feels bad about, all of the relationships he destroyed. This burn motif was used a lot in Season 6, especially in the first episode, and I personally love it, but it makes sense that they use it in the theme song. At this point, after Herb, we go to current Bojack and all of the things he did in the series so far. He passes by the desert and balloons in Tasuki, New Mexico, after he went to prom with Penny and her friends, that whole ordeal that happened, again, another thing that Bojack regrets. Then we get the Bojack Kills background from the Season 3 episode of the same name. We even get a nod to the fan favorite underwater episode, Fish Out of Water here. Bojack also passes through the Sugarman summer home from Season 4. Then he passes his mom in the hospital, and again, this time his mom in a coffin. This is directly taken from the episode Free Churros, which is one of the greatest episodes of Bojack of all time. One thing to note here is that Bojack's expression is changing throughout all of these. For instance, when his mother's alive, he looks annoyed, and when she's dead, he looks scared and sad. It's almost like he's reliving all of these things in his mind. We then pass the movie set for Filbert, which was a huge focus of the last couple of seasons, before finally settling on the planetarium, which is the biggest focus so far, Sarah Lynn's death. After the planetarium, he falls into the pool, and it's good to know that these two girls are still swimming. We see Mr. Peanut Butter and Diane, and yeah, the theme song's over. So as I mentioned before, Bojack's always been one to change locations in the theme song, but this time they went absolutely all out with it, and I super appreciate it. But after unpacking everything individually, let's try to take a look at the greater theme of this new theme song, no pun intended, and figure out what exactly they're trying to say here. Well, overall, it seems like Bojack is grappling with everything that made him feel guilty. His mom, Filbert, Sarah Lynn, Herb, the hairdresser, everything that he regrets, like I said before, he's reliving through, he's looking back at, and it looks like it's killing him. They're cycling through some of the darkest moments of Bojack. It's some of the most real moments the show has ever had, and some of the worst mistakes Bojack has ever made. With this season focusing on Bojack trying to be a better person, it makes so much sense that he's cycling through his biggest regrets. That's what he's trying to break free from. That's what he's trying to move away from. These are the things that he wants to be better than, and they're in the theme song every episode. It's kind of brilliant. He also looks the least happy he's ever looked in the theme song. And like I said before, his expressions are changing now as opposed to just being straight-faced, which is how it typically operated in the past. Overall, I would say that Bojack is hitting its peak in the last season, which, as sad as it is also really hopeful to know. I think this show's gonna go out with a bang and not a whimper. And with new episodes coming out in just a few months, I wonder if they'll change the theme song again, or if they'll keep this new updated version, because honestly, I feel like it could work for the new season. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Either way, this this is Bojack's most interesting and thematically dense theme songs I've ever seen. And that saxophone riff, ooh baby, so smooth. It's honest to God a work of art. But regardless, I want to know what you guys think about all of this. Did you see the new theme song? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything that you noticed? We'd love to hear about it in the comments down below, or tweet to us at Roundtable Vids or me at @SearcherNemo. If you want to consider helping out the Roundtable, you could become a member of the channel or support us on Patreon and get exclusive access to scripts and avatars. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share it, and subscribe to the Roundtable for more incredible cartoon content. As always, guys, I'm Nemo. This is a Cartoon Breakdown, and I will see you next time. Peace.